What up, my man of society? It is your host with the most, Shadow Dog, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like and are subscribed. That's how you help my channel get into the algorithm. I would highly appreciate it. It's absolutely free. You can't turn down free stuff. Now, what I wanted to get into was something that one of my subscribers wanted me to talk about, right? He shot me at the Cash App. You didn't have to. I appreciate that, right? But he wanted me to talk about this subject, right? Golden State, the Golden State Mac is my subscriber's name. He told me, what are my thoughts about the whole Adams situation, right? That's out there, that's trending right now. I don't pay attention to this kind of stuff, right? So I wasn't aware of what homie was talking about. I have done a video on Adam 22 on this channel before. You guys could go check that video. Overall, my thoughts about why he behaves the way he behaves. And on my channel, I'm never here to insult individuals, belittle them, or have any hate towards any of these individuals. I'm just giving my opinions and what do I think, right? So I wasn't aware, right? So I started, doing my research, right? Caught up to speed. And now a lot of people think it's an act, or this is all fabricated, or this and this and that. And I think why individuals sometimes think that is because the situation is so out of this world and wild, to the norm, that people just can't wrap their minds around it, where it has to be fake. When people have to understand that sometimes stories sound fake or made up in situations because we don't have an understanding of individuals, right? But you'll be surprised what a personality disorder could have a person behaving as, right? Adam 22, in my personal opinion, is definitely a narcissist. Now, that's not an insult towards the individual, right? Because there's a lot of individuals that are narcissists or sociopaths, sadists, and all that in this world, right? That live amongst us. People have to understand, people, who are in that form of entertainment, or athletes, or even people in power, right, are going to be egotistic. They're going to be narcissists. Not all of them, but a majority of them are, you know what I mean? Because it takes egos in order to reach those heights, right? To think that you're the best, to try to mold things in your image or what you think goes, just like, the individual who's a porn star who has slept with Adam's wife, right? In order to be on there and to have that confidence or whatever, you got to have an ego to you. You know what I mean? And you can tell when they interview the individual that he definitely has an ego to him. Not saying it in a bad way, right? But he's definitely ego-driven, right? Now, people could call it, why? Because he has confidence in himself. That amount of confidence, even though it's called confidence, it's ego, and even athletes recognize that, right? Basketball players, if you hear their interviews, right, they thought that they were the best and that they were number one, and then they reached the NBA, and then there's all kinds of other players that are equal to them, if not better, and they're devastated, right, because they felt like their ego, and they say it themselves, their ego was kind of stomped on, and same, these alpha games that people play, these alpha males, right? One wants to do the job better than the other when it comes to, satisfying, a female or whatever. If not, their ego takes a blow to it, kind of like the situation that's happening. But that's because they're ego-driven individuals, right? The thing is that people clown on Adam. They're making fun of him. They're laughing at him and stuff like that. I'm not here to laugh at him, and I'm not here to make, jokes like that. So if that's why you're here, I'm sorry. Right here, we actually have conversations. Because laughing at his expenses, I don't see no humor in that, And I'm not a party pooper. I mean, I have, humor to me. It's just that I just don't find situations like this humorous. Right? Would I let someone sleep with my wife? No, of course not. I think, when you make a commitment to somebody, the commitment stays between you two, right? If you're seeking, attention or gratification or anything like that from somebody else, then there's a problem. Then there's a problem in the relationship. You know what I mean? And looking for, somebody else to bring you, satisfaction or joy is already, a bad thing, So I know people say that it's to, spark up the romance or light the fire. In all true reality, it's very damaging to the relationship. It means that one or the other in the party, in the relationship, suffers from some type of character or depression disorder. Right? They have doubts in themselves. They only go along with it to bring happiness, or if that's what their significant other wants, just because they don't want to lose that person or they want to make that person that happy, that they go along with it, right? But you're hurting this other person just to uplift yourself, but you just don't see it, right? And people suffer from a lot of disorders where they have they're afraid to lose somebody, right? Um, that's why serial killers and serial rapists and all that could have like loved ones standing by their sides, or even get married, or even think that they're innocent, right? Even though all evidence proves otherwise. But just because they have that that problem with themselves, right? That they just latch on to whatever person even paid them the time of day. Um, so I believe Adam is definitely a narcissist, right? And I believe his wife did suffer from some type of of this disorder. Most people that are in that business suffer from that, right? They feel like sex is the only way that they could get or what they want or be successful or anything like that, right? So they use that, right? Because some traumatic event happened to them where they felt like this is the only avenue and the only way to get attention was to display some type of sexual deed. You see a lot of that happen, even in the streets, right? With prostitutes, even with female gang members and stuff like that, right? Some kind of relationship in the household. You know, they were having some trouble at the household, leading them to the path that they chose. And I believe, Adam as a narcissist, kind of, they manipulated in their favor, right? Because, when they were together, Adam was sleeping with all kinds of other women too, as well, right? Bringing himself some joy, right? And now, although people laugh now because this guy slept with his wife and stuff like that, and he allowed it and whatever, and the cream pies and all kinds of crazy shit. Um, while people are laughing, at him, if Adam approved of this, I don't think it bothers Adam. I think Adam, because look, Adam only cares about himself. Adam puts himself before anything. Now, where's the proof? This whole fiasco. Just watch any of his interviews, right? It's always about Adam and what Adam thinks. What Adam thinks is newsworthy. He doesn't care about his friends, their laundry being thrown out there, anything for views and stuff like that. And all the friendships and relationships that have gone downhill because Adam always put himself first, right? He can't show, he just doesn't have those personal feelings or attachment to individuals. Individuals to him are merely just how can I use this individual, and then when he provides no use to me no more, it's off to the next. That's not to hate on him, that's just my overall opinion on the individual based on what we know about him. Right? And like I said, I said that in my other videos. So to Adam, if it's bringing Adam joy, he doesn't care what anybody thinks. If they think that that's whack, or that's your beef for letting that happen, or if you're in all these jokes that they're making fun of him, to him it doesn't matter, right? Because it brings him joy, right? What's bothering Adam is that the publicity is getting, and how people bad mouthing his name. That's what's getting Adam mad. That's why Adam's mad, not because the whole thing with him and his wife and all of that. The thing is that everyone bad mouthing his name is what's getting Adam mad, not the actual scenario. Because the actual scenario to Adam, brought him some type of joy. Like I said, other people may see it, wrong and all that. But as long as it's bringing the one person that matters the world to Adam, which is himself, joy or some kind of pleasure, he could care less what anybody thinks, right? Because it's Adam's needs before anybody else's. Doesn't matter how his wife's gonna look, with all of this fiasco. Doesn't matter how his child is gonna see his mother or see his father. It's all about Adam. That in itself speaks volume when you have a child with this person and you don't care that this video, because once it goes on the internet, it's on there forever, right? You don't care how your child is gonna feel or all of this is going to affect the child, because it is going to affect the child, right? Growing up and stuff like that, it's going to affect the child, right? And they refuse to acknowledge that part, right? To take that into consideration. How are people going to tease her, or her uprising, knowing this and that, and the dysfunction, and the humiliation now, and the you know how is that going to affect your child? But they didn't care about that. They didn't put that into consideration, or take that into consideration, especially after they got married. Because they only cared about themselves. Well, how could this benefit us? And yada yada yada. Successfully wise, I don't think his wife, was looking at it from that aspect. I think it's just whatever Adams cooks up and feels like, is a good idea. She just rolls with the punches, bro. You know what I mean? Um, and that is what it is. Because it's she also puts her needs before anybody else's as well. Because they didn't take the child into consideration, and that already speaks a lot of volume. When people want to defend his actions, but not looking at that aspect to it, right? So overall, I think this is just because it's in his character, right? He's a narcissist, so I don't think this, affects him, like how people think it does. More because they're speaking bad on his name, but not so much about the actual situation. It's just the overall somebody bad mouthing his name is what he doesn't like. Um, Not the actual joking around about all this. Um, you know, because of his narcissism. Narcissisms always want to seem like, that's the reason why they're so flashy and, floss and brag. Right? Ego tactics. But that's overall my opinion on the overall subject. What do you guys think? Leave your opinions in the comments. I'm saying, shut up.